This is the Santiago y Miguelón Podcast recording. In our show, we break down complex concepts into simple content.
We do this by applying the Socratic method, where one of us is the teacher and the other is the student. Our chats range from anything, fintech, Web3, to security.
And hi, I'm Michael, a serial entrepreneur experienced in fintech. I talk about startups and I'm always looking for ways to improve life.
And I am Santiago. I love finding solutions to complex problems. I focus on the intersection of people and technology. I navigate the world with both an innovator's mind and a security hat. Let's kick it off, Michael.
Hey, Santiago, welcome back to our show.
Hey, Miguelón, good to see you again.
Yes, it's been a while. I mean, now virtual, but we actually saw each other over the holidays in person, isn't it?
Yeah, it was really nice to see you after 3 years, man. I've only seen your upper body part. Now I remember you actually have legs.
And we did another thing to our show, right? Like we had a bit of an upgrade.
That's true. We are not sponsored by Logitech, but we are actually running 2 nice Logitech mics. So if you listen to my tummy making strange noises, well, that is the reason.
Yes, we're picking up on that now. Awesome. So for today's show, we were just chatting about things the last time that we spoke each other. And then you actually came up with this philosophy of you never having any cash readily available in your bank account.
Well, I have been getting my mind busy with how businesses manage their money. It is very different from actually how individuals manage their money. And that got us to the point that, well, how did we actually learn to manage our money?
Yeah, exactly. Like what strategies do people even use? How do they learn these philosophies of how to manage money? And that's then exactly the topic of today, right? Something we will call financial education. So the structure of the show is a bit like this. We're going to be talking more about our personal stories associated to financial education. Then you, Santiago, will introduce some key concepts that are vital in understanding how that all works. I'll be going over the financial education globally and how different governments are actually treating this differently. And then we will discuss two topics. One is financial education, an evergreen problem. Will it always be there? And after that, something you just alluded to as well. Can we potentially run our personal finances as a business? And then we'll wrap it all up. So let's just kick it off right away. Can you tell me a little bit more? How did you learn about the value of money and how to manage it in general?
Yeah, sure. Maybe also a bit of background. I was born and raised in Mexico City, so that will also come later in the story. Basically, in my family it was very simple. When I was a child, I would get some pocket money, sometimes daily, sometimes on the weekly basis. And, well, I was somehow indirectly incentivized by my parents to save money, because if I would like to buy a toy that was big enough to really want to save my daily allowance, my parents will always say, okay, if you save half of the value of the toy, I will put the other half.
Right.
So that was how a bit of my first approach to saving came into place. I will always have this financial institution, my parents, that will double my savings and allow me to buy whatever I wanted.
Sounds like a good deal, right?
It sounds like a really good deal. I have not found anything similar after I left home. And then I think the second approach I had with some kind of financial concept was not directly, but indirectly. I had a couple of family members that didn't do well when dealing with credit, especially credit card credit. And it is a typical case where you get a credit card to pay the other credit card to pay the other credit card interest, and at some point, well, you cannot get any other credit card, and that is a really, really bad situation. I think the family understanding of credit card, or at least the unspoken truth, was debt is bad because debt is credit card debt, and you should stay away from it. But what about you? You grew up in a totally different country, miles and miles away from me.
That's correct. In a country that you are currently in. So indeed, a bit of background about me. I'm originally from the Netherlands. Just like you, as a kid, I did get pocket money. I remember spending that on candy, but also on something really cool that I just love doing, collecting soccer stickers from Panini. So every year, either the competition itself or for the World Cup, European Championships, I would actually buy these stickers from a local tobacco shop and then collect them. And so the values I got as a kid from my parents were, besides this, also similar like you. I don't think we had relatives that actually really got into debt, but my dad kept emphasizing that getting rid of debt is very important. So he was very proud of the fact that his mortgage was paid off very quickly and that he didn't have that kind of hanging above his head anymore. Another thing that was super important is be very parsimonious with money. So for us, the option of paying for parking versus not paying for parking was very simple. The free parking was the option, even if that meant that we had to walk for half an hour. I think another thing that kind of, as a kid, made a very big impression on me is my dad used to work in the UK at some point in time. He got paid in pounds there, and he decided to put that money in a Jersey bank account. So Jersey is actually one of the islands off of the French coast in the English Channel there. And it's like a tax haven. So it's considered to be a smart option to kind of store your money there. But that's all he did, though, with that money, right? So he just put it in a bank account, and that's all it is. And I always thought that was like a super smart thing to do. But I think over the years, what I realized later on is that he just kept the money there. He didn't do anything with it. He was just saving it. And over time, even we saw the pound drop as compared to first the guilder and then the euro. So that money just lost its value over time. So yeah, that's kind of my story. Great. And before we then move on to how others are looking at how to manage their finances, I think it would be good if we just go over some key concepts that people will need to understand if they follow along on this podcast. So which ones do you want to emphasize for today?
I think at least in my financial education journey, I can highlight three concepts that I used to think different about them or not think at all. And those are money, interest, and risk. The first one is money. So in our examples during the introduction of the podcast, money was something that was given to us, and with it we will buy candies. So this is called a medium of exchange. That means it's recognized in between people to exchange goods and services. And that is how the majority of people use money. When I was a bit blown away was when I understood that money is also used by companies or actually financially educated individuals to generate more money. And so that stops being a medium of exchange and becomes an asset. Where the second concept is relevant to introduce, that is interest. Interest is just the money that somebody gets when lends money. So a bank will get money by lending money to us, for example, via credit cards. When you add time to interest, you get compounding interest. And this is when getting earlier into generating this compound interest will always make you wealthier than being the best money manager in the world. There is a difference in between exponential growth, that is what you get when you are paid interest on interest, and linear growth, that is when you only get interest on the principal, that is basically what you are lending. And I think you have a very interesting example for this difference, Michael.
Yeah, it's a super important phenomenon to kind of understand and appreciate. So I came up with an example. Let's say you start off with $1 at a certain day, and you would pay 100%, or you would earn 100% interest every day. on that $1, then it only takes you 21 days in order to get to $1 million, right? So that's very fast. Now, on the other hand, if you would opt for a different strategy where you started with $1, but every day you receive $1, so you're not earning 100% interest, then you get $1 a day. It takes you $1 million to get to, it takes you 1 million days to get to $1 million. And that's actually 2,740 years, right? Not 21 days. So that kind of shows the difference between the two strategies. The one is then somewhat linear, the other is exponential, and compounding interest is just much quicker to get you to your financial goals.
Yeah, that really makes a difference. And I think for humans, it's really hard to understand the difference between exponential and linear. But I mean, if you can give me 100% interest, Michael, I will definitely...
better deal than what your parents did, where they would double your money?
It's a bit better, indeed.
What is the third concept that you think we still need to know about?
The third concept, it is the concept of risk. In a very simple way, you can think about the probability of something bad happening. And why it's relevant to this financial education topic is that whatever or wherever we choose to allocate money, it has inherent risk. And if we can understand and rationalize this risk, it will help us to make better decisions. So risk has two important concepts, that is likelihood and impact. And I have a very simple extreme example. So let's say that you have a really big meteorite. It's flying around somewhere in the middle of space. And you had this tiny likelihood to hit Earth. What do? Do we ignore it? Or do we, we all take spaceship and go somewhere else? This is a bit of the kind of decisions that you need to take. And if you are able to quantify the impact or the likelihood in a better way, that will help you to drive the decision that will maybe, in this case, help you survive as humanity.
It's like diversifying assets, basically, that you're talking about right here. So instead of them putting all of our eggs into one basket, we might find ways that are different baskets. And then maybe moving to Mars, which is something that Elon Musk is trying to do, right? Is trying to send a spaceship to Mars, maybe terraform it so it becomes a second Earth. Or maybe we can even find ways how to shoot the meteorite out of the air, have it disperse into smaller meteorites that are maybe less harmful and might even be absorbed by our atmosphere. So thanks for explaining the topic or concept of risk.
So now that we understand better the concept of money, compound interest, and risk, the question is there kind of a framework of thought that can help us to navigate all this? And the area that helps you to understand better how to manage your money is called financial education or financial literacy sometimes. And we can define it very briefly as the art or the area of knowledge that helps you to understand the value of money and how to leverage to your own benefit. And the question then is, how are different people in the world educated on this?
And then as a part of the research for this podcast, I kind of dove into this. I was just very curious, like, how did we both get our financial education? Is that then the same in every country? Might it be different? How is it for the average Jane and the average Joe out there? Just to keep it simple, I picked the countries that we are either from or are currently living in. So Singapore, the Netherlands, and Mexico. And what is a super funny observation is that all three of them seem to be doing it very differently. So somewhere in the middle of the spectrum, we have the Netherlands, where the government does help with financial education through a platform called MoneyWise. And it serves then kind of as an education portal for consumers to get themselves abreast with the topic of financial education. On the other hand, at this point at least, there is no formal financial education as a part of the school curriculum. And then on the other side, we have Singapore, which, very similar to the Netherlands, also has a platform called Money Sense, where they will explain all of the key concepts such as we just did. And in the educational curriculum, there is room for explaining this as well. So at primary school, you learn the difference between simple things like needs and wants. And then later on in the curriculums, they will, for example, at pre-university levels, you'll learn how to set financial goals. So if there's something you want to achieve, like maybe buying a house, then they'll teach you how to get there, right? So, and then on the other side is Mexico, where actually none of this exists at all. The government of Mexico is not building a platform, nor is there any attention to financial education in the curriculums. Now, Santiago, what do you think? Should governments be the actual problem owners of educating the population?
There's always a question, right? Who is the problem owner? I do believe so. If we go back to our last podcast where we said that government is some kind of a proxy for the individual to be able to live in society and maximize happiness, I believe that financially educated people will eventually lead to better societies where whatever economic system you have behind. So I think that's something that should be available for everyone.
But I mean, if you look at like some facts, like Singapore still actually has a high amount of people that somehow end up in debt spirals because of these loan sharks that they're lending from. So even if they did get the financial education, it somehow does seem like they do tend to go down that route. Then for the Netherlands, according to the OECD, it's actually in the top 3 of countries with the highest household debt compared to their GDP. That sounds very high. Like as we spoke about earlier, is that then really a bad thing? And for Mexico, what we currently see is that half of the population does not have any relation whatsoever with any financial institution, and there is also 20% of the population that never even saves.
I think those facts are really interesting. I think that one of the also important things to mention here is that financial education is something that you are worried about when your basic needs are fulfilled, right? So I understand that in these 3 countries, there might be situations where you are not even thinking about that because you need to look for what are you gonna eat or what is your family gonna eat in the next week, and then there is no place for financial education. Having said that, I think that you also help us, Michael, to understand that in different countries you have different baselines, right? So I think that if in Singapore all the kids are educated, at least they know that they are doing it wrong, right? Whereas in Mexico, I can tell you that if the majority of the people are still dealing to get access to a bank, there is really not a lot about what they can do about financial education. So I think that we are all in a spectrum. So hopefully we are all going to go to maybe where at least the tools are out there. When you need them and when you can use it, you can use them. That will be a better situation compared to when you don't have anything.
Nice. So before we look at how we can potentially solve for financial education, it is worth asking, is it a problem that can even be solved in the first place? If I break down financial education, I see 2 dimensions. 1, reach. 2, knowledge. But then the question is, can we maximize both? Or will there always be people who somehow don't have the capacity to understand and manage their personal finances? Or is there perhaps technology out there that can, 1, give them that access, and 2, provide them that knowledge?
So what do you think, Michael? Because I also know that you're very much into Web3, right? And there is some options there to tackle this problem from maybe a decentralized way. But what can Web3 do for us, or actually for society, to help people choose better in their financial paths? Yeah,
I think this technology can help us. I think it's very hard to get 100% financially educated population. That will be a very tough goal to achieve, but I think we can get very far. And I think Web3 in particular will be able to help us with this. But as it is right now, with the current status though, what I believe is that it might seem a little bit paradoxic, but the more we keep innovating, the harder it will be for people to eventually become financially educated. So Web3 right now is just so full of jargon, lingo, that makes it so hard to grasp for people that even if they wanted to become financially educated, they just couldn't. It's like the hill is too high to climb, right? And that's why I think DeFi as it currently stands is impossible to fathom. We need to drastically simplify Web3 in order for people to get there. And then if we do that, I do believe it will help us in increasing that access and increasing that knowledge. What do you think?
No, I fully agree with you. So there is maybe a third category that we don't have a lot of control on, that is how complex technology and also financial products are, right? And I think the complexity of financial product has somehow reached its pinnacle in Web3, because it's not only technological complexity, but also financial complexity. And the niche of people that understand those two, well, is quite niche.
All right, now, so that we assume or we think that we can almost educate everybody financially, Santiago, you came up with quite a crazy idea as to how to potentially help everybody manage their finances, because we can then maybe learn something from how businesses do that. You care to explain?
Yes, of course. So this comes from me spending too much time reading finance books. I suddenly wonder why I'm actually not managing my wealth or my money as a company do. So maybe the question is, how do actually companies manage their cash? And interestingly enough, a company will always try to minimize the cash available. We will understand why later, but there is mainly two mechanisms for that. So when you have cash available at the end of the month as a company, you either want to invest it somewhere. I think strategy number one. And here's where the risk concept becomes relevant, right? So you want to put money in an investment that is diversified, so you spread your risk and can give you the return that you want. The other that is more interesting is a very successful strategy to minimize cash available is actually raising debt. The incentive that debt provides is that you need to pay your debt at the end of the period. Then this cash that you might have available if you will not have debt, it's not anymore there. The business is not doing great. The company cannot pay its debt. Well, then the company is liable to pay the debt with the assets it has. At any moment, the owner will go in jail or will need to give its house away because a company is not being able to repay. And I believe it's also one of the concepts when you told me, Santiago, this is an interesting one, but it might not work, because whereas you want to maximize your mortgage, if the moment that you are not able to pay, you are going to lose your house. And that's when it clicked. So liability is a very different concept for personal finance management and business management.
That's true. Other question I still have for you is why would a company then want to minimize the cash available, so the free cash flow?
A company has an interesting conflict of interest. The owner of the company might not be the manager of the company. And this idea, actually, I take it as a very valuable one for personal finance management, because when I'm working for my long-term goals, that I will think that that's the owner of the company, the owner that has a long-term vision, whereas the manager is the one that, oh, there is a new microphone in Amazon, maybe I should buy this microphone. So this is where the conflict of interest comes. So in the cash available that managers have to, for example, buy a nice desk or have a fancy dinner with customers, versus the interest of the owner of the company to make sure the company maximizes the financial wealth. This is a very valuable idea for personal finance management, because that also helps you. Whereas you don't want to maximize debt maybe in the same way as a company, you want to minimize your cash available, because I don't want to have this cash at the end of the month to be able to buy the microphone if I don't really need it.
Which is something you might regret.
It's something I might regret. Exactly.
Do we regret buying our microphones, or?
Well, I think that's something that we will hear about later when the podcast is out.
After the editing, yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. So I think you sum it up nicely there, right? Like, sounds like we can learn a lot from how businesses run their finances, but there might be certain aspects of it that are maybe too complex or unnecessary for an individual to truly do so. I wanted to kind of elaborate on that by mentioning that I did actually something similar for my personal finance management. I created this spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet I used to calculate and understand my net worth. And how I structured the spreadsheet is very similar to how a business will do their accounting. So it has like a cash flow statement, it has an assets and liability statement. And out of all of that, I try and understand what is my financial health, and that's how I take decisions. So, for example, like what we just spoke about, if I realize that I have too much free cash flow, if there's too much money in the bank, then I'll try and find ways of me applying that somewhere, like investing it in one way or another. So that is definitely an example of how I at least learned from how businesses do it, and then applying it to my personal situation.
Was it difficult for you to structure this spreadsheet?
Yes, very difficult. I think this spreadsheet has, in a way, been kind of my learning process of me educating myself financially. So what do I mean by that is that it started out as a very simple spreadsheet in the beginning, maybe one tab. And over time, it just grew and grew into something that was more complex. And why? Because I started understanding more of the nuances that come with understanding your net worth. So it was really, it's a product of my learning in that sense. It's the proof that I went through this course of financial education, and I am now at a phase where I'm not financially free yet. I wouldn't call it that, but I have the feeling that I have a grip on it, that I know where I'm currently at, and it gives me a very safe and confident feeling.
Yeah. No, I think the path there is really what teaches you at the end, right? So you need to learn by doing it, to spend time on it, and there might be no shortcut for that.
No, I guess maybe not. Maybe you need to put in the work, which doesn't mean that you need to build a whole spreadsheet, but I guess writing some stuff down, some simple things like your assets will help you in getting an understanding of your financial situation. And that brings us to the end of the episode of today. We spoke initially about our personal stories, our relation to money, how we have been spending and saving as kids and got taught that debt was bad.
Then we share some concepts that are important to understand personal finance management, money, compound interest, and risk.
And then we saw how financial education is actually approached differently in the countries that we are from.
Then we went into discussing if financial education is an evergreen problem, or perhaps technology can help us to improve access and knowledge.
And finally, we looked at your crazy idea if potentially we can upgrade financial literacy by running your personal finances as a business. I really feel like we only scratched the surface of all of this today, Santiago.
But if at the end of this episode, at least you wonder, hey, this compound interest thing is very interesting for me, that will be the best outcome for me. What about you, Michael?
I completely agree. And I have a 7-month-old daughter, and all of the funds that she got over Chinese New Year, I put it into her bank account and invested it in ETF. So I really hope that by the time she's 18, that compounding interest effect will then have materialized.
So it's a lot of 21 days in there. So
that is a lot of 21 days in there. Thanks, folks, for tuning into the Santiago y Miguelón Podcast.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.